Hi everyone! Glad to have you back here. So this is a new series, B2 Italian. Now I did start a B2 course, but the thing is that we're kind of just doing a little bit of B1 revision there. So we haven't actually officially started with the B2 book. We will soon, so I'm kind of doing this on my own at the moment. So yeah, and the great thing, or well, actually, the strange thing, there's nothing great about what I'm going to say. The weird thing is that I've had two large gaps. So if you'll notice, my last video for B1 Italian was probably a year ago, more than a year ago, I think, a year and maybe 3 or 4 months ago. So what happened was I did A1 and A2 in quick succession, like in the same year. And then I had to wait an entire year almost before I could do B1. So I had that huge gap with very little contact with Italian, the language. So I mean, it was kind of tough for me. B1 was not easy, even though I did well. And then again, after B1 ended, again, I've had to wait for like more than a year. And now they're starting B2. So again, I have this gap and I feel very awkward about it, very self-conscious because I feel like my skills have really, really deteriorated. So I'm going to have to really kind of work on a lot of things that feel like they've kind of just faded out of my memory for some reason. And it's kind of strange because I remember when I did German, I did every single level every year. So that was very regular. But then we had a couple of people in our batches who had gaps and they always struggled. So I'm kind of in that position now. It's really weird, but I can finally see things from their point of view. And I can kind of understand why they found it so difficult because again, when you have that huge gap, when you've lost touch with the language, your memory just disintegrates. So I've forgotten a lot. But yeah, let's see. This is, of course, a study stream and not a teaching stream, so I don't have to be perfect. Okay, well, let's start. So this is the first chapter, Scuola e dintorni. Thankfully, my pronunciation is great, but that's like a very tiny thing. It's far more important that your grammar is great. It's far more important that your vocabulary is great. At least that's what I think. Anyway, and the oddest thing is we have so many students in this batch that have a French background, so they've been learning French, and they're like B2 or C1 French, and they have an easier time. So yeah, I feel like I'm at a disadvantage this year, but I have to, even out of spite, I'll have to do something where I end up at the top. I cannot be like when I take the exam, I absolutely cannot have it. I cannot tolerate being, like, oh, the worst student or whatever. I'm not the worst student, but still, anything that's not like, first rank, second rank, it's like, it's gonna like really hit my ego. Okay, well, so here you have, as always, on the first page, you'll have comunicazione, which is communication topics that they plan to cover in the chapter. And then you have grammatica, as usual, which topics in terms of grammar will be covered. Italian grammar is quite vast. I feel like it's, much more broad compared to German grammar for some reason. Because I remember doing B2 German and I didn't even study for the exam. I still was number one. Not to brag, well, kind of. um, and I just leafed through the book. I didn't feel like there was that much new stuff to learn in B2 German, but I don't have the same feeling. And again, it's because of that huge gap. I feel so odd about that. But anyway, let's continue. So then you have lexico, which is essentially vocabulary, new terms, terms related to the theme. And you have all of these things. Sistema di istruzione, system of instruction. Some of these are very obvious. Obiettivo is obviously objective. Laurea, I've read that before. That one is diploma, degree. I think it's really diploma rather than degree because you get this when you graduate high school, essentially. Oh, and one thing that I learned, well, because let me just check what laurea really is. So laurea can be degree as well. Okay. So one thing that I learned a couple of days ago is that it's not compulsory, it's not, obligatory to have a diploma Like you can leave school at 16. You don't need in Italy. So that's interesting. Apprendimento. What is apprendimento? I know percorso educativo is like the course, the plan of education that you have, the educational path. Apprendimento. Okay, that's learning. Okay, and tirocinio. Tirocinio is probably when you have like, yeah, an apprenticeship. There we go. Some of these I may not know, so I'm gonna go on to like DeepL or Dict.cc as usual. Oggetti legati alla scuola. Objects connected to the school or to school. Lavagna. Oh, that's blackboard. But the thing is, they don't really have like blackboards anymore. It's all digital nowadays. Cattedra, that's where the teacher usually stands. Teacher, professor, even. But of course, here they're talking about scuola and not università, so that's another thing. Grembiule, this, I've read this word before, but I don't really remember what that is. So we're gonna go on and we're gonna check. Apron, that doesn't make any sense. Why would that be? How is that connected? Okay, that's strange. One thing you can, of course, do is, oh, there's also lingui, by the way. So what you can do is, let me just check if the language pair is right here. There we go. So you can, in fact, I would like Italian to English, but that, okay, there we go. Option should be there. There we go. Okay. You can actually find, there's many things you can do. You can, of course, just, search for the word. And sorry, the lights outside my window just started up. Why? That's weird. Anyway, I got distracted. Okay, there we go. So lingui shows me it can be an apron, which is what you wear in the kitchen, but it can also be a pinafore. So that's like a uniform almost, like quite not exactly the same thing because they don't have like schools don't have children that have to wear uniforms there, so that's not a thing. But a pinafore is something that children will often wear, not like always, but they will often wear to school. So that's one thing. You have you can see sentences, and you can often kind of have a deeper meaning when you read a sentence. So, like for example, all of these sentences that we see, they have like apron, as in, like the stuff you wear in the kitchen, the item of cloth. But here you also have, let's see, cover. Okay, again, apron, same thing. One thing you can do is, of course, you can go on to Google Images. Sometimes I just do that. And that like, because, what happens is when you go on to Google Images and you search for whatever word or even phrase sometimes that you need, is you're going to see that item or object. I mean, if it's a noun, then of course it's simple enough. Even if it's like a verb or something, it's not really that big of a deal. You can, here, for example, you just go on to images. And that's one thing you see, but you can also see this, right? So that's like for school children. It's very cute. Like a pinafore, exactly, right? So that's what you have. So essentially kind of like a school uniform, sort of adjacent thing. But it's got very clearly, it's got these types of, this type of a color, right? Even the boy and the girl, both of their uniforms, they have like the same thing. So yeah, blue, light blue, and it's got this cute color. So that's what you see. So that's that's the benefit of just using Google Images, is you can get you bypass the translation in your head, right? You can, of course, just go on to DeepL and see, okay, what's the English word, or what's the French word, or what's the whatever word, whatever your mother tongue is, for, whatever word you need. But then you're translating. So it kind of gets attached to that English or whatever translation in your brain, but you can bypass that if you just look for pictures. Then it's like what happens with your mother tongue, because of course when you're a baby, when you're a child, you're learning your first language, you don't have any other languages to connect to it. But like you see other kids play with the ball and you see, okay, this is a round object, you can kick it, you can hit it with your hands, and that's a ball. So your idea of the word ball is not a word, it's an image, and that's how you learn your first language. So that, I think, is a much better way to really reinforce it. Now the problem is, of course, this doesn't always work, especially with verbs. It can, of course, it can, but obviously with nouns, it's a concrete item, so it's a lot easier. Okay, then we go back. So we got grembiule covered. Then we have cancellino. Ino endings, if you remember, that's like when you want to make something smaller, or like cute even sometimes. So ino is like smaller and one is bigger. So tavolo is like a table, and you have tavolone, a big table, or tavolino, a small table. So cancellino, that's something you'd use on a lavagna, on a blackboard, to wipe out, all the chalk, the stuff you've written in chalk. Then we have attività scolastiche, school-related or scholastic activities. Fare una città, school trips, to take a trip. Andare alla lavagna, go to the blackboard. Fare un compito in classe, to do an exercise in class. Aggettivi legati alla descrizione di persone. Persone. Sometimes I miss some slight vowel changes. I'm like very conscious about that. Anyway, secchione, I've read this one. Secchione is like a negative term for somebody that studies a lot but isn't really simpatico, isn't really somebody that's well liked, because all they do is they study. They don't really have, like, they have friends. They're not very helpful to other people. They're just like obsessed with their book. Secchione, secchiona, if you have, a female. Empatico, empathetic probably. But you know what? Sometimes you have false friends. So let me just check, just in case I've got it wrong. Okay, empathetic, great. So that is, because you have, like, for example, you have annoyarsi, right? And you think, oh, that's like very similar to the English annoy, and I've made this mistake. And you think, oh, annoyarsi, annoy, maybe they mean the same thing, but they don't. Annoyarsi is when something bores you, so that's a different thing. Oh, I don't even use eccitato. Don't look that up. Disinteressato, okay, not interested. Diligente, this is the same thing as English, I'm sure of it. It's diligent, somebody who is really good at what they're doing, does their stuff regularly, and so on. Tu ti ricordi? Do you remember? Guarda le foto. A cosa ti fanno pensare? What do these pictures make you think of? Parlane con un compagno. Speak about it with a classmate, friend, and so on. So in the first picture, you've got a lavagna, you've got this maestra, insegnante, davanti alla lavagna, and what, you've got a bunch of, I was gonna say kinder, because my brain is still in that, I had my C1 German exam a few months ago, so my brain's kind of in that mode still. Strange, but yeah, you've got studenti. In the second one, it's definitely a città. It's like you've got some kind of esposizione scientifica, pure qualcosa di genere, something like that. This is just like group activity, so there's not that much you can do. You can look at them and kind of try, and this one, for example, you've got this diploma thing happening, a ceremony, so but yeah, this is that's pretty much it. Then we'll have a look at this. Quali delle seguenti parole o espressioni riesci a trovare nelle foto precedenti? Which of these words or expressions were you able to find in the previous pictures? Classe or aula? Aula is specifically a classroom. Classe is just class. It can also be like a lesson. So yeah, just like in English, of course, sorry. In English, of course, classroom, that's kind of the difference. But of course, nowadays we just say class as well. So it's kind of like you can you can use them interchangeably. Then we've got classe. Okay, that one's done. We see that in which one? We see that maybe in this one over here. You also have it here photo. Uno, due. There's no numbers on the pictures. Oops. Okay. Well, you see that here. This is not exactly an aula. It's more like an exposition, something like that. So this one's definitely a classroom. Aula here, aula over here. This one probably also. Gita scolastica, definitive. This one. Okay, this one for sure. Okay, esami, maybe this one. Grembiule. Again, you have this grembiule right here. You see that? Interrogazione. Interrogazione is when you're being questioned. So probably, yeah, this one. We got voto. What exactly is voto? Not sure. Let me go and look that up. Okay, grading or marking. Grade or mark. Yeah, I think, but that you're not exactly getting a grade or mark when you're. This is like they're graduating, so this is different. Maybe over here, like maybe they're being given grades or marks as well when they attempt an answer and it's right, something like that. Laurea, yeah, definitely this one. Insegnante di sostegno. I think you don't exactly have an insegnante di sostegno, a supporting teacher, but this could be one of those because you see the child here has Down syndrome most likely, and so you have extra teachers that support such children who have certain issues. They need more help, and so yeah, that's one thing that is very common. Banco. Banco probably here because of course where would the child sit? You have banchi over here as well. Lavagna here and here. What else? Cattedra definitely over here. That's where the teacher stands or sits. Cancellino, we don't see the cancellino, but definitely here and here because of course you'd have to wipe the blackboard with something, right? Then we have ti piaceva. Did you like this? Or like something? Leggi questa lista di attività legate alla scuola e indica se ti piaceva, ti annoiava, ti imbarazzava, ti spaventava o ti divertiva. And you can, make the list bigger if you want to. Fare I compiti. Did you like that? Did you like this thing? Did it bore you? Did it embarrass you? Did it scare you? Or was that fun for you? So here we have, okay, fare I compiti. To do exercises, I think was both. Sometimes it was fun, sometimes it was just boring. Sometimes it was fun. I mean, I don't know if I liked it a lot. Depends, I would probably also put an X over here. Tradurre. Did you like translating? I think so. Yes, that was fun. Leggere ad alta voce. Oh, mi piaceva e mi divertiva. Imparare a memoria. No, mi annoiava. I really found it so boring. Andare alla lavagna. A volte mi imbarazzava perché se non so la risposta corretta, poi sì. Ok, then what else? Essere interrogato. No, non mi piaceva. Mi imbarazzava. Because I have this fear of not getting things right. Fare lavori di gruppi. No, I hated that. Not only did it bore me, I hated it. I hated it. So where's the hate? You don't have that. Ok, you don't have that. Ma io odio fare lavori di gruppo. Perché gli altri non erano bravi come me. Fare compiti in classe, verifiche scritte. Oh, I like that. Mi divertiva. Mi spaventava. None of these really scared me, but math did. So, matematica, sì, mi spaventava moltissimo. Ho paura di matematica. Fare GT, piaceva, sì. Partecipare a discussioni, sì, anche qui mi divertiva. Attività creative, sì. And that's that. You can talk about it in class, but well, you don't have people here to talk about it with. But yeah, it's a good exercise to get people talking because the next thing you'll notice is they say confrontati con alcuni compagni motivando le tue risposte. So talk about a few, discuss in detail your responses. When you say, for example, andare alla lavagna mi imbarazzava, perché? Why does that cause you much embarrassment? Mi ricordo che diventavo rosso. I remember that I turned red anytime I was asked to say something in class or, solve a math sum on the blackboard or something like that. I feel like if I try to write these responses, that would be good practice. That would also be, I think, a good idea. I could probably do something like that. Yeah, instead of talking, because who am I going to talk to? Well, I guess I could, but then again, like I said, I have huge gaps in my memory. So, for example, fare I compiti matematici o matematici. I don't know about that one, so I'm gonna put a question mark over here. Whoops, my keyboard is not in Italian. Let me change that. Yeah, sì, mi spaventava moltissimo, anche oggi. Paura, paura di matematica. Matematiche, no? Perché... Huh. Maybe. Okay, so I'm gonna maybe write a small paragraph about this. I think that could be a good idea. Okay, well, I'll do that. Okay, so what else can I write here? Let me see. I could maybe write a sentence about all of these. That is a possibility. Let's see. Fare I compiti matematici. I think so because here I'm using mathematic as an adjective, and then here this is the subject. That's sostantivo. So that's gonna be different. What I'll do as usual is I'll type out the whole thing and then put it into detail. You can even ask ChatGPT to correct your, text. So that's, of course, any kind of AI will do it for you. And that's the great thing is you have so many options now. Ok, so fare I compiti matematici mi spaventava moltissimo. Anche oggi ho paura di matematica. What else? Ma però, but I need the keyboard. Yeah, però mi divertiva. Yep, mi divertiva fare I compiti. Fare I, what's the word for others? E anche, ed anche, what else? Leggere. Perché? Oh. I'm just gonna be a little bit lazy and I'm gonna add this over here because I can't find on my keyboard. I cannot find the accent, so let that be where it is. Okay, why did I like reading? Because I don't know, I just liked it. There was no reason for it. Okay, io leggeva, I think. I hope that's the correct tense. If it's not, I'll find out anyway, so not a big deal. I'm trying to emulate the advice that I always give, which is don't be afraid of making mistakes. So, because, leggera, no, I think it's leggeva anyway. So, però mi divertiva fare altri compiti in classe ed anche, should it be ed anche? Because you have a vowel here, right? So here as well, it's like that. So maybe it's when you have the same vowel. This is really basic, but I forgot already. Because again, I had that huge gap. Però mi divertiva fare altri compiti in classe e anche leggere ad alta voce perché leggeva sempre benissimo. Era brava in leggere, era brava in inglese. Dei miei insegnanti, ok, di miei insegnanti, they preferred that I read. I miei insegnanti hanno, the past tense, wait, so you have, they had, mi hanno, They encouraged. What's the word for encouraged? Man, why is it not working? DBL is so slow these days. I'm gonna have to go on to dig.cc. Mi hanno aiutato? No. Incoraggiato. I think that, yeah, that makes sense. Incoraggiare. Incoraggiato. Mi hanno incoraggiato. I think so. Because you have I miei insegnanti plural, and so, yeah, I think this is gonna, there we go. Okay, that fixed it. Gli altri? Ah, gli altri. Of course, gli altri. Main insegnanti mi hanno incoraggiato. Okay, well, let's see if that makes sense. Let's put that into debel. Okay. Now I'm gonna reverse translate. Of course, you could just ask ChatGPT. That's always a thing. In fact, let me see if I have Perplexity for free. So that's a great way to have AI explain to you what your problems are. Ho paura della matematica. Okay, great. So I figured it out. But the thing is, if you like have to search for the mistake yourself, like here I wrote D and it should be della. Right, so if I have to search for it myself, I have an easier time remembering. Whoops, why can I not cross? There we go. Della matematica. I have like two keyboards, so I'm trying to figure out. There we go. Okay, della, because you have matematica. Whoops, that should be green. Okay, so this way I have to like check, what did I do wrong? I compiti di matematica. Okay, and there's like no adjective form. Okay, fine. So I cannot just use this as an adjective form. Fine. Fai compiti di matematica. But why is it paura della matematica? But compiti di matematica. Isn't that like weird? Because, compiti di matematica. That's something I'm gonna have to highlight, because I don't understand this. So what I'll do is now I can go and ask Perplexity, ChatGPT, whatever. Hey, can you explain why it's compiti di okay, I need to like make sure I pronounce things clearly. Why is it compiti di matematica and not compiti della matematica instead of, but instead you have ho paura della matematica. Why is it different? I need to understand. Okay, there we go. So I am gonna be posting just this tiny bit. Why is it okay? Why is it fare compiti di matematica, but ho paura, ignore the little circle thing, della matematica. This is a great resource. I prefer ChatGPT, but I don't know, for some reason my account isn't working right now. Okay, so compiti di matematica, user of D, type or subject of homework. Di inglese, di storia, relationship, okay. So because you have a different preposition, di plus la, okay. So it's not, okay. Compiti di matematica, not of the math, because you don't use the article when you have compiti di qualcosa. So apparently that's the difference. So you have compiti di anything, inglese, storia, matematica, whatever else you've got. So you don't have the article in that case, and that's why it's di. But because della is di plus la, della, when you join di plus la together, when you say I'm afraid of math, ho paura della matematica, you have the article. Okay, so that's the difference. But why ho paura di matematica? Why would it be incorrect? That's what I don't understand. Why? After paura, you need the plus you need. Okay, that's just a rule. That's just una regola. So you need to have, after paura, you need to have not just the preposition the, plus you need the article. So that's just a grammar rule you have to internalize. Okay. It's always these tiny words that trip me up. Okay. Paura della compiti. Okay. Compiti does not require an article, but paura does require an article. Ok, però mi divertiva fare, però ma mi piaceva, no, I want to say mi divertiva because it was fun for me. Fare gli altri compiti in classe e anche, ok, e anche, not ed anche, ok, great, because they're not the same vowel. Ad alta, because you have the same vowel, so it wouldn't sound nice to say leggere alta voce. It would be difficult to make that difference. So leggere ad alta voce because the D makes it easier, but e anche because they're different, and so that's not like difficult or anything. Ok, perché ho sempre letto, ok, ho letto molto bene. Oh, why not? Okay, ho sempre letto. I always, okay. Yeah, you use leggio for something, I think, non-fixed in time. Yeah, I remember now. Perché ho letto sempre molto bene, oppure benissimo. That also works instead of molto bene. In fact, let me see. Yeah, there you go. So benissimo is fine. Ho perché ho sempre letto, ho sempre letto benissimo. Era brava in inglese. Era, but I'm a woman, so I'm gonna use. Why not? Why does it expect me to use this? This is, I'm sure if you're a woman, you say era. Oppure era brava. I'm pretty sure it should be era. But why is DeepL not showing me that as an option? Let me ask, is that fine to say this? So I'll just ask Perplexity. There we go. Is it okay to say I'm a woman? Ignore like all the because my keyboard is in Italian, so okay, it's correct. Yeah, era brava, exactly. So why is DeepL? DeepL is supposed to be really good, but DeepL isn't showing me that. That's really weird. Anyway, I miei insegnanti mi hanno, so I definitely don't need ed, that would definitely be e I miei insegnanti mi hanno incoraggiato. Okay, well, let's check. Ah, ok, e I miei insegnanti mi incoraggiavano. Mi hanno? Can I not say mi hanno? Axel. You. Why did I say Axel? That's sometimes the German just pops in. Mi hanno incoraggiato. But why is it okay? Why not? Because you have I miei insegnanti. You have plurals. Shouldn't it be versus incoraggiati? Which one is correct? Oh, okay. Past participle may agree with the direct object form. Okay. Mi singular, mi hanno. So, I miei insegnanti. Okay. So for a woman, you should write mi hanno incoraggiata. Oh, okay. So it's me because incoraggiati. Oh, well, incoraggiare. That's happening to me. And I'm a woman, so I have to write incoraggiata. Regardless of who is doing it, whether it's plural, singular, male, female. But the action is happening on me. And so that's why I have incoraggiata. But if I was a man, it would be incoraggiato. And incoraggiato, it's like irrelevant if it's a man doing it, a woman doing it, multiple men, multiple women, doesn't matter. Okay, great, that makes sense. So even if you write just a tiny bit, you learn. I've learned the della. I've learned the tense thing. I've learned what else? The incoraggiato thing. So I've learned like 3-4 things already, and I just wrote like 2 sentences. That's it. I just wrote 2 sentences, but I learned a fair bit. Not bad. Not bad. Okay. Well, what else? We're gonna be looking at okay, great. Oh my god, matematica. Again. Eri bravo in matematica? Ascolta il dialogo e abbina le seguenti informazioni alla persona a cui si riferiscono. Attenzione, non tutte le informazioni vanno abbinate, mentre altre si riferiscono a tutti e due. You got two people, Marco and Giovanna, and you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 statements in a way. Like, for example, ha trovato okay, how do you? L'as, l'as, l'assen, no, l'ascensore, finally. L'ascensore rotto. Okay, who did that? Who found this l'ascensore rotto? Was that Marco? Was that Giovanna? Or nobody? Andava bene a scuola, and so on. You could, it's a good idea, like before listening exercises, to read, what you have over here, so you know what you're working with. So we've got the third one. Aveva problemi in matematica. Ha avuto un periodo difficile a scuola. Aiuta la figlia a studiare. Studiava anche di notte. Non è felice del lavoro che fa. Ha cambiato opinione sul valore dello studio. And then riascolta il dialogo. Okay, that's what you do afterwards. But first, you're going to listen to the dialogue once and then mark, okay, who said or who did what exactly. Okay, so before I play the tape, let me mute myself so there's no like double feedback. There we go. Okay, and now we have to listen yet again, but this time you have the dialogue here in text form. So you can have a look at that while you listen. So we'll do exactly just that. We'll play it once again. Okay. Right, so let's see. Oh, I haven't actually, there is a guida insegnante, but I haven't actually checked. In fact, I should probably get that, so I'll just get the guida insegnante. Guida insegnante, Nuovo Espresso. Great. So if you have this, which I'll just add the link, there's this book for teachers. Well, I mean, you can use it as well. So here we have, and they have answers, by the way, so you can check that right here. Eri brava, il primo, la parte vostra. Non ci sono diversi modi di presentare. Okay, what else? Where are the answers? So there we go. Ok, ha trovato l'ascensore rotto, Marco andava bene, both of them, aveva problemi, nessuno, periodo difficile, nessuno, aiuta la figlia, nessuno, why? Because I mean, she does ask him, did you, do you help her? But he never actually responds to that. He says sì, in matematica sì, anche in altre materie. So he responds to the second question, were you good, in mathematics? So he actually doesn't respond to the question whether he helps his daughter study or not. Studiava anche di notte, Giovanna, sì. Ah, so, ok. Non è felice del lavoro. Yeah, she does say fare anche l'impiegata. So that one I missed. I missed this one. Okay, right. Well, what's the next thing? Che significa? Trova nel dialogo le parole o le espressioni che hanno lo stesso significato di quelle della lista. Le espressioni sono in ordine. Okay, that means that you'll find the first one in the beginning and so on. So, okay, respiro affannato dopo una corsa. Now, there are some words I don't understand. For example, what is affannato? I'm assuming that's like exhausted or something like that. But I can guess already what this could be. Affanato. Out of breath, ok. Dopo una corsa, ma che cosa è? A race or a run. Okay, after running. Okay, that would be fiatone. She says it. Oh, che fiatone. Ma che hai fatto? That would be fiatone, I'm pretty sure. Here we go. Ho preso okay, ho preso. You took something, received something. This one, he got a fine. So he mi è beccato or something like that. Mi sono beccato. Okay, beccato o beccare. Beccato una multa. I received a fine. Beccare. La botta finale, definitiva. La botta is probably something like a hit. She does say colpo, and I know from like my B1 or A2, there's a chapter called Colpo di Fulmine, a strike of thunder. So I think that's probably the same thing. I'm really good at guesstimating things, but that's like not much help. I mean, I wish I was better at grammar. That's my main problem right now. And of course, there's words that I forgot, but that's not too bad because words, you can always learn them. Colpo di grazia. Colpo di grazia. Almost like in English, you have like you have, like it's like a hit of mercy, essentially. Like, final nail in the coffin, in a way. Yes. Sfortuna. Yes, I know this one. Sfiga. This is like very, 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 very casual. You wouldn't use that term, let's say, with your boss, co-workers, professors, etc. It's very, very casual, very casual. Okay, what else? Since okay. What's the next one? Darti conforto. Okay, conforto would of course be comfort, and she says consolarti. Okay, so consolare. Maybe I'll just, put that in here. Sorry about the numbers. Molto studioso. I know this. Secchione, secchione, secchiona. Secchione for a man, secchiona for a woman or girl. Cambio opinione. Ripenso or something like that. She says over here. Uh, Mi pento. That is, I regret. Ripenso is thinking again, right? So ripenso. Ah, cambio opinione. Hmm. Opinione. Cambio opinione. Maybe that's. I mean, I could just check later, so that's not really like a problem, I think. Speccato. Ma se ci ripenso, mi pento. Pento di cosa? Hmm. I'm not sure about this one. Ripenso is definitely think again. I mean, because it's like a different form of pensare, which is to think. So think again, ripenso. Now, cambio l'opinione. Yeah, I don't know this one. Could it be either mi pento is pentare, no? That's when you regret something. So how could that be? Okay, well, we'll leave that blank and we'll check. Buttata via, thrown away, perso. That's definitely what's sprecato. I think that's what she said. Sprecato, yes, sprecare. Senza dormire, insonna, insonnotti, insonni. Yeah, insonni. There we go. Okay, let's check right here. Che significa? Ok, fiatone, ho beccato, colpo di grazia, sfiga, consolarti, secchione. Ci ripenso. Oh, ok. So I was wrong about that. Ci ripenso. Ok. Come okay. Ci ripenso. Let me just highlight that because what I'll do is before the exam, I'll go through everything and I'll see, okay, what did I get wrong? What did I get right? So essentially, I know like if it's yellow or green, that is something that I need to focus on. So that helps quite a lot. Okay. So the next exercise is verbi ausiliari. Nel dialogo compaiono due esempi con i verbi salire e passare. Cercali e scrivili accanto all'infinito. Poi completa la regola nella prossima pagina. Ok, so we've got to search. Salire, okay, and passare. Let's see if we can find that. I would just do Control F, but that's the lazy way. I shouldn't do that. Okay, we have salito, sei salito con l'ascensore. So salire, sei salito. What do we do esempi con i verbi? Cercali e scrivili, okay? We have one. So I found one. Sei salito over here. What else? Salire, passare, ok. Era rotto, lascia stare. Adesso aspettate, mi sono beccato multa. Sono passato. Sono passato. Ok. Poi passato. Poi arrivo, adesso ti do. Riunione, sono sposata. Quindi, mi va tutto bene, riesci, bravo. Matematica. Molto andavo bennone. La seconda, 9, sprecato. Ah, ho passato. What else? I'm looking for salire. Salire. Maybe over here. I only found one example of salire. Sono passato o passato. Oh, that's interesting. Because you have both avere e essere. Okay, now that's got my interest. How about salito? I only found sei salito. Che fatto. Oh, ho salito. There we go. That was silly. I was right here. Okay, that's interesting. So these can take both. Okay, it's probably a transitive or intransitive thing. Ok, so we have our two examples. In italiano ci sono diversi verbi che hanno un ausiliare, essere e avere, diverso a seconda se sono usati in modo transitivo, con un oggetto diretto o intransitivo, senza un oggetto diretto. Se usati in modo transitivo, l'ausiliare è blank. Se usati invece in modo intransitivo, l'ausiliare è solitamente blank. So, let's see. Sei salito con l'ascensore. You had something. Sono passato. Wait, let me highlight the sentences so I can figure it out. Sei salito con l'ascensore. Ho salito le scale. So here you have a direct object, right? What exactly did he scalito? What did he scalire? What did he scalire? So that's your direct object. And here you have an indirect. Perché non sei salito? With what? So that's indirect. Okay. And then we also had somewhere over here. What was the other one? Sono passato. Sono passato con il rosso. Sono passato con il rosso. Okay, but this is indirect, I think. And then we also have somewhere over here. Ho passato ore e ore. Here you have a direct object. What did she... Passato ore e ore. Hours and hours. Okay, so this is also... This one is a direct object. Okay, so avere con direct object. Oh, great. And okay, so let me write that down here. Ok, transitivo è con un oggetto. Ok, also avere, essere. I think this should be right. Let's check. There is this. Where is this? Okay, there we go. So this is the guida per l'insegnante. This often has answers. So gli ausiliari con salire e passare. Okay, now where's the answers? Ho salito sei stato okay, great. Avere, essere, okay. And what did I write? Yeah, avere, essere. So this is a fun rule. I'll just highlight this because right now I understood it, but like what if at some point I forget it? So it's good to, because, you know, like I said, I come back to these notes before the exam, so that's really helpful. Essere o non essere? Qui di seguiti trovi alcuni verbi che hanno in italiano il doppio ausiliare, come salire e passare. Prova insieme a un compagno, we don't have a compagno so we'll do it alone, a scrivere per ognuno una frase usando l'ausiliare avere e una usando l'ausiliare essere. Great, that's a fun exercise. So we have aumentare, which I think means to add, diminuire, which is maybe to decrease, bruciare is probably to burn something, cambiare is change, peggiorare is to worsen, trascorrere is probably to like cross, like a street, for example, something like that. Okay, here's the real challenge. Okay. Oh. To add. Okay, aumentare. What kind of sentence can I come up with for aumentare? So if you have essere, that means you need, sorry, if you have avere, then you need a direct object. Okay, so you can say, for example, ho aumentato, maybe, for example, I added, but added is like somewhat technical, isn't it? Qualcosa in qualcosa. Aumentato. It should be capital since it's a sentence. Aumentato. And then the next one could be sono aumentato nello gruppo. Is that nel gruppo? Degli studenti. I was added to a group of students. Is that even correct? I'll check later. Ho aumentato qualcosa, qualcosa. Cosa? What could I say? I feel like It's like if you say, "Oh, I added milk to my shopping cart," that's like a different thing. Ho aumentato il latte sul mio carrello. This is like silly. I don't even know if this is correct. But you know what? We'll just we have two options. We have debel, which only really checks, like okay, let me put that in here. So I put my sentence in here. All right, I added milk to my shopping cart. But when you reverse translate, then you probably, yeah, aggiunto. That's more common compared to like aumentato. Aumentato is like increased. So, oh my God, why did I use this then? That's silly of me. Aumentare is increased. Oh, come on. That was extreme. Why did I think it was something else? Increased. I know that. Okay, never mind. Ho aumentato la quantità. Oh, I need to change my keyboard to Italian. La quantità. Quantità della latte sul. Why wouldn't del? Di. Okay, why is it di latte? Oh, I think it's like the last one we did off something. For example, exercises off mathematics. So there we had di matematica and not like esercizi or what was the word? I think I used compiti di matematica, but paura della matematica. So there with paura you need the article la matematica. But with compiti di qualcosa, you don't need the article. So it's like similar, quantità di qualcosa. So you don't need the article. Okay, I remember that rule. Now. I made a mistake, yes, but I remember without like having to check why. Great, so this is why you should make as many mistakes as possible. Ho aumentato la quantità di latte not sul mio carrello, ma sul mio caffè. I hope that makes sense. Put that in here. Of course, you could just directly I increase the amount of milk in my. It sounds very technical, but like it's okay. It's not exactly. Yeah, la quantità di latte nel mio caffè. Sul. Why did I write sul? That is silly. Inside should be nel. Yeah. I forgot to change that when I changed from carrello, which is shopping cart, to caffè. That should be. There we go. Okay, not bad. Sono aumentato. No, that doesn't make sense. Sono aumentato. Well. Mi sono aumentato il peso. Does that make sense? I don't know if that makes sense. Let me put that into detail. Oh, ho preso peso. Well, of course, that's how you would say it. How do I add? Say aumentato. Okay, it's increased. So, how do I create a sentence? This first one is fine because here you have what did you, aumenta. So, direct object is like what, responded to with what? What cosa? And so you have a cosa, la quantità di latte. Aumentato. This is tougher than I thought it would be. Aumentato. I'm really gonna have to think about this. Maybe I'll just get a little help from Lingui, because they have sentences. Lingui is great. So you add, for example, and then you'll find a lot of sentences. Okay, well, let me just think before I, kind of cheat and check. I mean, you're still learning, so it's not really cheating, but let me just think about it. Sono aumentato o è aumentato. Oh, I can say è aumentato. Let me try that. È aumentato il peso di okay, something has increased. What has increased? Well, I don't know. This is like, this isn't quite. Is that even correct? Maybe I'll just check because I'm not too sure if I'm getting it right. Aumentato, Grecia ha aumentato. Il cui peso è aumentato di oltre 3 punti percentuali. Ok. Whose weight, il cui peso è aumentato. So I had the right idea. You could say, for example, è aumentato. What's the word for cost? Price or cost? Wow, I forget really basic stuff sometimes. Prezzo? I think so. Uh, prezzo the what? The I cannot think of anything. Latte? I've already used that. Let's not use that again. The fragole. Delle fragole? No. I think this is fine. It should be okay. Aumentato il prezzo delle fragole. Okay. I thought it was weird. Il prezzo delle fragole. So here it's not like compiti di, but here it's different. So I guess you just have to memorize that then, huh? Like la quantità di, il prezzo di plus article, and what else? We had I compiti di, but no article. Okay. All right. So my sentence isn't exactly, that's fine. Like it's not wrong. It makes sense grammatically. Or maybe we could also check this guida all'insegnante. Maybe we see if there's something else, if they have like some sample sentences. I'm scrolling very slowly. Aumentare. Il capo mi ha aumentato lo stipendio. So, ok. Il valore del dollaro è aumentato. Ok. È aumentato il valore. Ok. Il capo mi ha aumentato lo stipendio. Ok. Ok. Diminuire. So aumentare, diminuire. They're opposites. Ok. Diminished. Let's say inflation. Whoops, my chair moved. What's the word for inflation? I hope it's not inflazione. Probably, yeah, inflazione. Okay, well, it kind of seems silly. Like it's so easy, and I still didn't really think of it. Okay, inflazione. This is gonfiaggio. That's a different term. Oh, la inflazione. Okay. Inflazione è diminuito quest'anno. I keep forgetting where the okay. Diminuito? No. Diminuito? Diminuita. Axo. Okay. Oh, because you have la inflazione. Okay, so it has to, because you have, okay. Il prezzo è aumentato. But if you said, for example, il prezzo è, you could also say diminuito because prezzo is masculine and okay, yeah. You could also say è aumentata l'inflazione because it's feminine. Oh, okay, I have to keep that in mind. Okay, so we've got A. I also need O. Le mie ore, orari di lavoro? I miei... No, orario. I know it's orario, but I don't know, working hours, or there's orario di lavoro, okay. The orario is that, yeah, masculine, okay. Maybe like not working hours, but my weekly hours. or something like that. Maybe just like, for example, what else could be decreased from a person? Not weight, because you say there's another word for that. Mio diminuito, diminuito, lo stipendio, but I read that, so I cannot read. It's correct, you could, of course, but I just want to try something else. Weekly hours. Yeah, le mie ore settimanali, but that's not even, I don't even think that's like it has to be a phrase that makes sense, right? Because this is just translated from English, but it has to make sense in Italian. I don't know if that's how do you say, yeah, let me just ask this one. As in your, weekly. Orario di lavoro, ok. Settimanale, ok. Axo, ok. Il mio orario di lavoro settimana, ok. Is it? Oh, okay. So that's actually official. Orario settimanale di lavoro. Okay. So my sentence was mio diminuto lo- l'orario settimanale di lavoro. Oops, l'orario. Okay. Okay. Ah, oops, diminuto. I keep messing this up. Okay, let's highlight that. Great. Okay. Bruciare. Ho bruciato le patate. Wow. Sometimes I just have to double check the most simple things. Ok, ho bruciato perché ho bruciato qualcosa. And then, huh, say for example, the forest. What do you call a forest? Il bosco? Bruciato. Right, okay. That's fine. Cambiare. Ho cambiato il mio corso di maybe something else. Ho cambiato il mio ufficio. Ok. Oppure il mio ufficio è cambiato. Ho cambiato indirizzo. Ok, peggiorare. Ok, peggiorare. Le mie, how do you say performance? Academic performance. Scholastic performance, academic performance. I know academic would be schola. Okay. Performance. Rendimento. Okay. Is that even okay? Maybe I'll just ask this one. Ah, prestazione accademica. Ok. Oppure, ok, so dei predittori, prestazione accademica. Ok. Academic articles, education, performance. Okay. So is performance then masculine or feminine? I think it should be. Okay, it's feminine. Okay. La mia performance. Why does it sound so silly? La mia performance. Okay. Performance. Accademica e peggiorato. Accademica. Ok. La mia performance è peggiorata. è peggiorata. Quest'anno, ok? Poi tu hai peggiorato, hai peggiorato. La tua, sorry. Ok, con questo design. Is that even, would that be, I think design should be masculine, but let's see. Disegno, oh my god, why? Is it not disegno? I feel like it should be. No, there is, yeah, con questo, no, voglio questo, sì, con questo disegno. Sì, trascorrere, okay, what is that? Let me just check that. Spend, okay, spend as in spend time? Yeah, okay, uh, trascorrevo, is that, I think, oh, um, uh, um, okay, and then, okay, this one's a bit, because, il mio tempo è trascorrevo in a bad way, so peggiorissimo, badly, poorly, in fact, not wisely, not wisely. So how do you say poorly? Male, okay, male, ma anche okay, male, that works. Malissimo. Nelle isole trascorreva male. Okay, maybe something like that. I hope. Okay, you know what? I'm just gonna put all of that and put that into, yeah, any kind of, I mean, I'm just using this because it's there. My tab is right here. But you can use absolutely any, you can use Grok, you can use ChatGPT, you can use Claude, you can use Perplexity, anything, Gemini, anything that works. It's all the same. Can you check my sentences? And then you just dump it all in here. You don't need a teacher. I mean, of course, a teacher is obviously better, but you know, for now, I mean, with whatever you have. Slightly awkward. Okay, mi hanno oh, okay. Mi hanno perché l'orario settimanale? Because you have plural hours. Okay, mi hanno. Let's go and change that. Mi hanno. Yeah, it's already highlighted. Right. And then okay, correct. Oh, okay. Both of these were wrong because I knew it. You know, I found it a little bit awkward. Trascorso. Okay, I trascorso. I used the wrong form. I used yeah. This one's irregular, so it's not like bruciare, bruciato. It's not the easy one. Okay, so the only thing is incorrect form. Otherwise, it's fine. Otherwise it was fine. Okay, so trascorso. I okay, and same thing here as well. Trascorso, okay. But I understood, I think, like the basics, which is okay, that you need to know when to use essere and when to use avere.